Hi. I'm conflicted. I've been sitting on notes and research for a few days now, and every time I have attempted to write this script, I have failed miserably. For those who don't know, this is the 17th part in a 20-part series I am doing in order to cover all 20 legions of Space Marines. And before you ask, no, you don't have to have seen the other parts to understand this one. They're sequential, yes, but they are their own thing. But to get back to what I was saying, I'm covering the word bearers. And ironically enough, I am left without words to say about them. I don't know what it is. Well, I think I know what it is. But it's something about their lore. It just inherently frustrates me on such a fundamental level. So to give you an idea, the lore of a legion is often split into two halves. What the legion was doing before they found the Primarch, and then what the Primarch was doing before they were given to the legion. Normally it ends up with them being strengthened on both ends, and both of them growing as a whole. And in this case it did, but it also, for some fucking reason, reinforced the worst traits of both sides to make the word bearers in Lorgar what they are today. Like a shitty butterfly. It sucks. So, who is Lorgar Aurelian, the Primarch of the word bearers? He's a pious man, beyond any logical understanding of the word piety. Sent to the word of Cultus, he was indoctrinated into a cult by his surrogate father, known as Corferon. Fun fact, Corferon is one of the few people in the setting whom are considered to be half Astartes. He was an old man when he was inducted into the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes, so they couldn't do the full transformation into one, so they just did what they could and then hooked him up into, Terminator armor, gave him weird weapons, and sent him on his way. But that's neither here nor there. The world that he was on, Cultus, itself was a fucking hyper-religious, zealot-filled planet that accidentally worshipped the forces of chaos. You know, I can see how that happens. One day you're learning about tarot cards, the next day you're conducting blood sacrifices to the dread god Nyarlathotep. It happens to the best of us, and he was most certainly not the best of us. His father figure, as I mentioned, Corferon, was abusive, paranoid, and probably should have been blamed for a lot of the horrible shit that happened to the universe afterwards. Okay, I'm underselling it for the sake of brevity, but I want you to really have these points nailed home. This man dedicated his entire personality to worshiping gods of some sort. His father was an asshole, and that's kind of the whole gist that you need to know. It's very uncomfortable to watch. And what of his legion beforehand? Very weirdly similar, where they enjoyed trying to communicate how their way of belief was better than any other religion out there. And if you disagree with them, they'd burn you to death. It's as simple as that. When they met, it was the fucking worst case of peanut butter and jelly in human history ever. He introduced religion to people who really wanted to be zealots about something, and the rest is, as I said, history. His worship became directed towards the Emperor just before the Emperor showed up to pick him up off of Cultus. So when Emps did make his grand appearance, the dude fell to his knees in a religious rapture and tried to get his newfound god to accept him. To which the Emperor said something akin to, ew, cringe. Worshipping the Emperor as a god was kind of his thing, to be honest. But it came to a head when the Emperor decided enough was enough and publicly shamed Lorgar and his entire legion to show him that gods do not exist and do not deserve his worship. And how do you think he did that? By publicly decrying his actions, by, issuing rights that would dictate that he shouldn't do this anymore? No, he burnt down a civilization that Lorgar had built up that was relatively peaceful, forced every single one of his legion to bow using his psychic might, and then punished him by, dismantling that civilization that he created. Something akin to, is this what you think gods do? Do you think gods would do this? To which Lorgar, whimpering, being held down by psychic might, probably says something akin to, yeah, kind of, yeah, no. Oh, gee, I fucking wonder how that turned out. Lorgar, approached by this nice man named Erebus, fuck Erebus, sorry, it's a bit of a tick at this point, was slowly but surely corrupted further into worshipping the original gods of cultures, which just so happened to, as I mentioned, be the Chaos Gods. They spoke to him, and now we get to the point I want to make. The word bearers are just the fucking worst. I think the difficulty I had in trying to make this video is because I think I just hate this legion. Of all 20, I think I like them the least. Their shtick is the dark god we worship evil priest thing, which is cool. The dark red armor with silver trim, it makes them look the part with the runes and shit all over it, but just, I get so fucking frustrated whenever a word bearer is involved in any story. They just suck so hard. There is like one fun character in the bunch from all of the stories that I've read, and that's just Argyle Tall. He was sad. He was cool. He was Karn's best bubby. I love Argyle Tall. I'm sure there's other more interesting characters out there. In like the Horse Heresy books that I've been reading, couldn't find many. And the short stories afterwards of the modern day, couldn't find them. But no, we can't focus on Argyle Tall. We have to focus on Corferon, Lorgar, Erebus, fuck Erebus. 3 characters known to ruin everything they touch. No exception. Go fuck yourself if you think otherwise. Lorgar is like the polar opposite in intention that Magnus is, but results with the same thing. He just makes everything around him worse, to the point where I honestly think he should have just been nuked from orbit before the Emperor landed on the fucking planet. I have read so many fucking stories from the perspective of traitor legions where a word bearer shows up and everybody in the room essentially goes, oh, fuck, not these guys. Because they're just so annoying. They're so fucking notorious for being zealots, stupid, and mustache-twirling villains that get hoisted by their petard so often that nobody wants to deal with them. For lack of a better term, they are like the fucking beastmen of the 40k setting. You'll see them in almost every major conflict involving chaos and chaos corruption, but they will never be the poster child of the setting. The golden boy who could never bronze, as it were. They will never be the big bads of the 40k universe. The Black Legion is always going to be the poster child, and hell, if you need another Chaos Undivided group, just get the Red Corsairs. They do the Zealot thing and the Undivided thing better than both. Lorgar looks like a chaotic evil Mr. Clean. Erebus should look like a corpse, and Corferon is just, he's just the worst. Everything about this legion is cool at a surface glance, but like they get demons willingly to possess their marines, to create hulking abominations to kill everything in sight, originally called the Galvor Back. Now, just referred to as the possessed marines. They are cool. You even had possessed dreadnoughts back in the day called the Mahar Gal, which looked dope as all hell, but then you read the lore and find that it's so hard to enjoy their presence, even if you do worship chaos. They have an abundance of dark priests, cultists, and just a bunch of lovely rituals they perform most days. I plan on reading more about them. I have done a lot to try and understand them, but I hear there are some good books involving newer characters. I don't know much about them, but these guys are just at the bottom of the heap for me right now. Where they are right now in lore is the word bearers are in several disparate warbands as usual, working to accomplish the goals of the dark gods through their own specific sects means. Lorgar is currently hiding away from demon Corvus Corax, as he probably fucking should. But do you like worshipping the dark gods? Do you like having an abundance of mutants? Do you like psychers and evil magic? Then maybe look into the word bearers. I just know they are so evil, they loop back around to being goofy and hard to take serious. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I want to know because I've seen a few friends of mine that like the word bearers just from aesthetics and what they do. I just can't like them. I don't know what it is. I just despise them. But I want to know, what is there to like about them? Is it just the mustache-twirling villainness of them? I'll genuinely be looking around to see what people say. Other than that, make sure to like and subscribe as well, because I keep posting like this. Alongside that, I would like to issue a special thanks to my channel members. I promise I won't ever sacrifice you for favor to the dark gods. And until next time, just remember, it doesn't matter how bad your day gets. Just know that at the end of said day, you'll never be in worse shape than Erebus when Karn got a hold of him. Jesus Christ.